A game that I've been talking about and really excited about is the continuation of Alan Wake in the form of Alan Wake 2. This is a title, guys, that so many fans across the globe have wanted to see a continuation of, and we're finally getting it. And the first Alan Wake I thought was great in terms of building a lot of that suspense to what this franchise and this IP really could be. And now Remedy, bringing this franchise back into the fray. I want to talk about all the things that we know now about this title, and we can talk about, the things that we want, the things that we could potentially see in the future with this franchise moving forward. So let's talk about it. So guys, this is an article coming to us from Kat Bussell of Tech Radar. Alan Wake 2 is bringing back horror. Alan Wake 2 is coming out very soon indeed, marking the first entry into the weird and wacky series in over a decade. From what's been shown off so far, it's clear that the developer intends to put out a full-on survival horror title with Alan Wake 2. And yeah, guys, what we've seen so far, this game is giving you a lot of mystery, a lot of survival, but a ton of horror elements to it as well. And that's something that I'm really excited about for sure, because obviously horror being one of my favorite, genres when we talk about in gaming or just entertainment in general, it gets me really, really excited, especially when we saw some of these other trailers that have been released, even from most recently Gamescom. This is going to be something special, guys. It's safe to say that Alan Wake 2 is definitely one of this year's most anticipated games. So here's what we know, guys. We know that this is a psychological thriller. We know that it's going to be coming out, which is most important, October 27th of 2023, and you'll be able to play this on PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. So Alan Wake 2 will launch on October 27th, 2023. This is 10 days later than initially planned following a recent delay. Remedy explained in a tweet that the reason for the delay was due to the crowded release schedule surrounding the original release date. And I'm totally okay with this. It was originally going to be October 17th, and now it's October 27th. Guys, October is a month full of tons of games, and a lot of games that look like are going to be incredible AAA experiences. So them moving it, it makes complete sense to me. So Remedy has confirmed that Alan Wake 2 will be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. Interestingly, the game will be a digital-only release. This could change in the future, but according to an FAQ on the game's official website, Remedy is skipping physical in order to keep the price of the game at $59.99, which I think is really, really fascinating to me, that they're not going to release it as a physical copies. And to keep that price down, I mean, hey, you know what? It might actually do awesome for Remedy. It could blow up in their face when people want to go and buy a physical copy instead of doing digital, but so much it's digital nowadays, it makes a lot of sense for them to do this to keep the price down. And so I'm totally okay with that. Obviously, guys, here's what we know about this game in terms of the story. So though little has been confirmed about the specifics of Alan Wake 2's story, the finality of the first game, as well as the subsequent DLC, have written some pretty interesting things story-wise. So at the end of the first game, Alan found himself trapped in the Dark Place, the Lovecraftian parallel dimension from which the darkness that hunted him seemed to originate. In DLC episode entitled The Signal and the Writer, Alan was able to free himself by confronting a twisted mirror version of himself. Alan Wake 2 will play over 3 hub areas: Bright Falls, the primordial forest surrounding Cauldron Lake, and the rundown town of Watery. The Dark Place will also feature presenting a shifting, looping reality. In the latest trailer, Anderson and Alan Wake do meet each other, so it seems as though Alan may be getting out of the nightmare realm at some point in the game. Time will tell. So a big question is who is Agent Saga Anderson? So Agent Saga Anderson's and FBI agents sent on an investigation to solve a string of ritualistic murders in Bright Falls. She then discovers a page from a horror story, which then starts to describe real-world events happening in the town. This is how she learns of Alan Wake and his disappearance almost 13 years ago. Things seem to be pretty standard over-the-shoulder third-person shooter, akin to more modern survival horror titles like Resident Evil 2 Remake. We know that guns will once again be used to dispatch monstrous enemies, and that the flashlight will be a key tool for keeping them at bay and for exploration. Though we've seen a decent amount of gameplay now, information as to what we might expect from Alan Wake 2 is still fairly sparse. There are a few nuggets of information floating about that can help us piece things together, however. So what I think's awesome though, even though like we know a lot of things about the title, there's a lot of mystery though to it as well, which I think's awesome that Remedy has done this, where they haven't shown us too much, where it feels like we've already played the game. We talk about, you know, just game trailers, especially movie trailers, where they show us too much, and then it's like, well, I basically have seen the whole movie. Then if you go see the movie, you feel like you've already seen the entire thing, and then everything good was in the trailer. That's one thing with Remedy that I love here, is that they're showing us a lot of awesome content, but at the same time they're keeping a lot close to the chest, so that, you know, they're not giving away the entirety of the story. So in a special 12th anniversary blog post, Remedy announced that Alan Wake 2 will be the developer's first survival horror game. The implication here is that we will see more survival elements in the sequel than we saw in the original Alan Wake, which focused more on psychological horror. This certainly tracks with the footage we've seen so far, especially with the cultish vibes represented by the deer-headed folk seen in the newest trailer. Now, I still believe, guys, with Alan Wake 2, I'm still kind of seeing a number of psychological horror elements to it, but I think that they're really diving even deeper into that horror space, and I think that's absolutely awesome. So, with that being said, guys, in February of 2023, Remedy CEO Tiro Virtala announced that Alan Wake 2 is in full production, and it is playable from start to finish. Virtala went on to say that the studio will then move on to polishing the experience, affirming that Alan Wake is a unique brand that holds high value for the company today. So that's absolutely awesome as well. Now, that being said, Sam Lake has confirmed on Twitter that Alan Wake 2 will be a third person like the first game, and that voice actors from the original game will return for the sequel. So look, at the end of the day, guys, like I said, they're keeping a lot of things close to themselves, that being Remedy, which is really awesome. At the same time, though, some of the things that I would love to see here in Alan Wake, obviously, we want this to be an experience that we can come back to over and over again after beating the game. I would love to see them kind of expand this world by creating it into somewhat of a full package moving forward. Now, they did do DLC for Alan Wake 1. Alan Wake 2, I'm assuming that they're going to be doing something similar to this to kind of keep people coming back to the experience over and over again, which I think is awesome. Maybe they could do a little spin-off or something of that nature. And then having multiplayer elements would be really fascinating to me as well. How you would do it, I mean, you definitely could, where you're solving mysteries and stuff along the journey and creating this interesting element of PvP. I think that could be really interesting as well. I think that this is endless in terms of what they could potentially do, that being Remedy with Alan Wake 2, and I really hope that this is a great entry into the franchise, which it really brings more eyeballs to it, and then it creates more and more of these games in the future. But let me know what you guys think about Alan Wake 2 up to this point, what we know so far. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Alan Wake 2 content and videos, stay here with zrotv.